from like the first episode, the feedback I got is that the person who's on the podcast should somehow describe himself or introduce.
Oh, I should introduce myself.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Karolis.
Like what you do, like...
Yeah. So my name is Karolis. I've been... How could I describe myself?
I've been I almost made it to NBA playing basketball.
No. We know each other from back home because we play basketball.
Yeah.
And
we should say we're from the same city.
Yeah, from the same town.
Or
literally
even like same
neighborhood.
same hood.
Yeah, because we literally live nearby each other. And we know each other from the common friends because we used to play basketball outside the police station.
That was good times, man.
Yeah.
I actually yesterday was because one guy from my office he plays basketball and he was like, oh, I played basketball a lot when I was a teenager, blah blah. I was, man, like, you didn't play basketball a lot. We used to play like when we were like 15, 16.
Yeah, every day.
We would play like, even especially in the summer, like what was it, like I would go like 10 a.m. till like 1 because it gets too hot. Then you go back home, grab something to eat, and then like at 3 you go out and come back at 9 because it gets dark. And we never had lights. We didn't have lights,
but
so like you would shoot to like the point where you can't see the basket.
Yeah, but you still keep playing. That's one of those crazy things. And and everyone, like people from, I don't know, local, gangsters or whatever, the people who are quite dangerous, they join for a play. Kids join, like from the smallest to the tallest, from the youngest to the oldest.
The guys with the 3 stripes, Adidas, tracksuits.
Yeah, the local troublemakers. And that used to be good fun. And that's where we, I think, met first time, because we have common friends. I used to go to school with your...
But I remember like when you used to come, at least I felt like you're not part of the gang who plays there. Like me,
I'm not
what I mean is, like, because you lived a bit further from the court. The like you came from a different area, because where I lived, it's called Tulip Street.
Tulip
like
Street.
The area basically. It's around one big street. And where you came from, it was like a different district, and it's like they're visiting, that was kind of the feeling. But man, like, and it's strange because like I think like before we met in Malta again, we counted it was like 11 or 12 years,
if no more, because if you look,
because you spent so much time in London, man.
If you look back now, from now on, what is 2023 right now, and I moved to London, so I left Lithuania for good in 2009, just after summer.
2009.
So it's been 14 years I've been living outside.
So we left kind of around same time, because I went to
just
UK to study.
School.
Yeah. I went, I think 2000. Yeah, because I graduated 2009. So same time.
Yeah. So that's how it all kind of started. Because quite a few of us, when we were still in school, play basketball, and you got common friends, and everyone's asking each other what you're going to do when you finish school. Because everyone has to go to university, and that's what it's like in Lithuania. The expectations are high.
That's what parents expect you.
Yeah, but
I feel like now it's not like that.
No.
But there's more freedom for kids.
But at that time, for our generation, we kind of got struck out as a generation who either had to kind of go beyond what's expected sometimes, take huge risks, and we go to university, move abroad, blah, 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 all these different things. And then if you look at generation just after us, like my sister, their generation, they all stayed. They didn't travel, kind of ventured out abroad as much. I think either life became much better, the quality of life, the economic situation in the country became much better, so you didn't have to seek for opportunities far, far away, like we had.
I don't know how it was in your family, but I kept hearing like my parents, especially my mother, saying like you should go abroad as soon as possible. Like, and it doesn't come from the that she's not like patriotic. She is, but it's just like she didn't see my future and yours probably as well, because you went. I don't know how, like, who influenced you to go. It was probably mostly parents, unless you had like friends who already went to UK. And there was feedback coming from them.
Yeah, well, kind of, I can take it real back, because when I was a kid, and if I performed well in school, my parents would, instead of giving me, like candy or money or whatever to kind of like motivate me to study better, they would tell me, oh no, you can choose the best, your favorite book you want, and we will buy it for you, So for example, for me, I love
like a reward system.
Yeah. So for example, if I performed well this 3 months, this quarter in school, it will go to Masiulio knygynas, which is the
mecca of
the
books.
Mecca of the books,
of the local,
and then
the
they
local
have
mecca.
amazing section, huge shelves with super expensive encyclopedias, and
also you're a geek.
Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd. Yeah, everyone calls me a nerd. So I was like, that for me, that was the top reward. I don't want anything. Computer games, all of that doesn't matter. So since I was a little kid, they would say, oh, we can give you this. And I was studying pretty well in school, doing really well. And I would read lots of these encyclopedias, and I would learn about the world around me. I love geography. So I was like, looked at different countries, the statistics. I would be crazy memorizing different numbers. And and one thing leads to another. You start studying better. At the same time, you keep learning more, and then you're becoming hungry for knowledge. And at some point,
it becomes a habit, which is really good.
So you just automatically consume information. I remember in school, we would be one of the very few public schools where we would have projects. So kids would have research projects as young as 12 years old. So you would pick up topic, and then it wouldn't be related to anything you're studying right now, like mathematics, literature or whatnot. But you would be encouraged to seek more information about a subject you might be enjoying or liking.
It's almost like university model,
right?
Yeah.
But we did that at like year 5 or younger. So we started year 4 doing these projects, and then you have to prepare a presentation and stand in front of the class and present your subject and kind of show what you found out.
I feel like you had a really good teachers.
Like, that was
they
amazing.
Had very like future-proof.
They had a very good vision of what what education system kind of wants us to do and what we are expected to do. So for me, it looked very normal to always research certain subjects or topics, especially found them interesting. So that was one of the reasons why I think kind of set me up for, like seeking education that's kind of like a bit more unusual, because I kept wondering about these different subjects. And I remember in school, one of the final projects before year 10 was related to graphic design. And our IT teacher in our IT lab in school didn't have a proper training to give us, graphic design lessons, so we could kind of explore these different topics. So I gave a proposal saying, could we have a final year project with graphic design, and I will run the class. I will teach kids how to do it, and show them how to work.
Teach your
my
your own
peers.
age.
My own friends. Many of them know how to use Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign, but I will show them, some tricks and tips, and maybe they will like to do it. And then
which year was this?
It was I think it's year 8 or 9. It was wasn't the year we do the maturity exams, but it's slightly earlier.
Okay.
So but at this point, you're not presenting your project to the class, you're presenting to every old school, and you're presenting your project to your parents as well. So it's like hundreds of people.
This is pressure, man.
And this is in school. This is like, of course we did theater spectacles and singing and dancing, because like dancing was compulsory as well in my school. We have to dance 2 times a week.
Same.
You had
in mine,
choreography class.
Because in I don't know how you actually call it, gymnasium, because gymnasium in English means like gym. where you play basketball, but like so and my school was
Soviet was anything specialized.
So like in my school as well. Actually, it's funny because like at grade 9, like first year I joined the new school, you know. My math, physics, and chemistry was all negative grades.
No.
Yeah, like 3, 3, and 3.
Shit.
So like we have 1 to 10.
Yeah, that's beyond failure.
yeah, exactly. Man, and just because I was part of that dance group that school had, you know, and promoted, and it was like the group that achieved a lot. Like they went to Canada, all over Europe to festivals, you know.
Tour.
So like they toured. And because I was part of that group, basically, that's the only reason I stayed in that school. Because after like year 9, they wanted to drop me. And then my parents came, and the teacher of the dance group, she was like, let's try to give him a chance.
Yeah,
and I'm like forever grateful, man, because I don't know, like if I left Žemkalnis Gymnasium, I don't know what I would have done. Obviously, I wouldn't go to the best one, to Balčikonis Gymnasium. No chance. So I would have ended up probably, I don't know,
just
some other school. But yeah, man, it was stressful.
So that was good, but some public schools had completely different itinerary when it comes to education. So you have like these weird classes sometimes. Like obviously everyone had theater and all of that kind of stuff, but like choreography was one of those that was totally out of left field, and no other schools would do it.
But you have to agree, as a guy, it felt really like lame at the time.
Yeah, it was strange.
But now when you look back, it's so nice, because there was like this particular group of people. You went to sessions, you know, where you rehearse, and it was kind of like a separate community almost. And you would stay after hours, like after
practice.
you know.
And if you have competitions and events, you can go.
You can skip lessons.
Skip school, and then
basically.
you go and compete. And I remember I competed once, and it was so funny because it was my first competition.
Do you have any archive material, like videos
I wish I had. Because it's so funny. I'm like very introverted. I have not good with stage. And it actually ties in really well. The dance classes and the choreography classes and the competitions we used to go kind of helped me probably beat the stage fright. Because when it came to presenting projects, those design projects in school against, in front of like 200, 300, 400 people, I didn't have no problem doing that. I just stood up and I bashed it out presentation for like half an hour straight talking, just off the hip. And that, I think, was because we did dance. Because when you dance,
you're on the stage.
Yeah, on the stage. Or when you practice, you're in front of the mirrors. So you're very self-aware of what's going on, and if you know what you're doing, you have you're not afraid of anything, because you do you, and you're 100% secure.
We should mention it's like folk dances. It's not like modern dances.
You did folk dance, I think.
Žemkalnis did folk.
I did modern dance. So cha-cha, jiva, salsa, waltz, modern waltz. So you do classic as well.
So you did like useful stuff at least.
I mean,
what we did was like whatever.
I can't dance for shit. Like now I can't dance for shit. If I go to a nightclub, I'm just like standing like a tree.
You do like salsa?
Yeah, I'm do like an old man. I'm so fucking terrible.
You danced your part.
Yeah,
already.
I did my bit. Yeah. So when I say like, oh, why? You can't dance. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm like, no. I went to dance competition. It was my first dance competition, like a regional scale. And then there were people like judges. You dance and judges walk around, and and you have to dance while other couples dancing and judges walking in between. It's super complicated. And I remember dancing.
Oh yeah, and they were like taking notes and things.
Technique and everything, whether you're communicating with your partner or you relax.
Do you have to keep the face like?
Yeah. Like
always smiling.
It's so over the top, and you're like, what? This is so weird. What is going on? And I remember they're giving awards, and like, the third place, the second place. I'm like, oh fuck, I fucked it up. There's no chance. And I won. I fucking won first place.
Man, I would give so much to see you dancing.
And then get a first place. And I was like, I got first place at dancing competition. And then my parents were like, okay.
You get the new book.
Yeah. No. Now we're taking you to dance school. And there's a dance school, like this big old building by the river. I don't remember what's it called. It's like Soviet Union relic.
Near where Sema factory was?
I think,
like in front of this of the main football pitch, like on the other side of the river?
Yeah. No. There's one more. Anyway, it's very old building, and they have professional dance classes. And you go inside, and there's, imagine those big Russian halls with like just big room. You got a wooden floor, and everyone's dressed up properly, and the teacher's dressed up in a suit or like a nice tricot. And I'm
not so nice.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So my parents took me there, and I feel like, oh my God, what I'm doing. They're all much older, all much bigger than me. And I'm standing there, and the teacher comes by, greets my parents, looks at me, like unimpressed. Totally.
Too short.
yeah. At that time, I was way
too
short. And he just invites, like, flicks his fingers and looks at some girl, and is like, oh yeah, you come by. And some beautiful girl comes by, and she's like fucking head taller than me. I'm like, oh, this is so demeaning and embarrassing. I can't believe I'm doing this. But it's a rehearsal, and and it's in the middle of them already rehearsing something. So you have to jump in, and you're kind of like, all right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I know what's going on. You have to adjust and get on with their routine, even though you don't know what's their routine.
Okay, so they basically test your ability to kind of
to read the room and kind of how quickly you can adjust with the new partner, because partners sometimes change, but the dance routine might be the same. So basically, I started dancing, and then in the end I was like, oh, this wasn't great. I didn't feel like it was great. And the teacher spoke to my parents. I was like, yeah, but won him. And I was like, oh my God, no. So then I came back home, and I was like, no, I don't want to do dancing. I'm going to play basketball.
And then basketball happened.
And then
how many years you did basketball?
I did not many, because I started... So dancing finished for me at like maybe 13, 14. And I already was playing and going to the sessions in evening.
So you did like dancing and basketball simultaneously?
Because dancing was during the class time, during the school time. So I didn't have to go extra hours. And then I kind of phased out from that. I still did the classes like normal, but I didn't do anything after class. And then my parents were like, you sure you want to quit that? You go and play basketball? Like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And
I don't know. Like, I actually know quite a few people who were like nudged by their parents to go to dancing classes. Like, I know a few guys.
Yeah, quite a few of my friends, and they did
like,
well.
Where does that come from? Because probably like maybe in our parents' minds, dancing was something to look up to, especially like in Soviet Union times when Lithuania was still under Soviet Union. Because they used to get to travel
everywhere. Like if you're part of a dance troupe, you go to travel everywhere.
I don't see like, for example, a father can see his son dancing salsa, like something he like admires, you know.
Yeah.
At least like I don't understand that myself.
Especially coming from our culture.
Yeah, like mothers, I get it, you know. It's like, oh, my son is a dancer, blah blah blah, you know. But like for a dad says,
it's what does your son do? He's a dancer. What?
yeah, exactly. Like it's in my mind, it's not kind of like masculine.
Yeah, it's not masculine thing.
There are guys who are super talented. You know, for that
exactly.
Kind of thing.
I always admire. I always say it as a good example. But when you are in a party or an event, for example, graduation. Like I went for my sister's graduation, and it was really cool. And you always have one couple of parents who know how to dance.
Oh yeah.
And they come out.
And they have to show you.
And they dance, but they're completely unaware that they're actually doing this. But then everyone's looking at them like, and then you see every wife just fucking punching their husbands like,
take me.
Yeah, come on, dance. I'm like, everyone's like very self-aware of that. But it's a very good thing to have. It's a very nice thing to know. It's freedom of movement.
It's kind of like, you know, like when you go to the club and there's always this one guy who like was in dance classes in his maybe childhood or teen years, and he's now 30, but he's like, I'm gonna show you. Yeah. And he goes like full on dance mode, you know, like all that kind of, man, like I get it, but it's so funny when you see someone like that, especially if they get a bit drunk, they go like super loose, you know, on the dance floor.
One thing that's kind of strange, because we had those classes, right? And after I finished the school, it was converted into 8-year-old school. And what happened is they removed all these extracurricular activities and anything from left field. So like I said, our generation got lucky in being in that gap 10 years or 20 years where we were kind of like test bunnies, and the education system did those different tests, and the parents weren't afraid to send us out abroad because of the different opportunities. And that kind of situation kind of, you know, had a perfect balance of challenges that kind of prepared us to do these things. So I think that's, you know, all these like dancing, the IT classes that turn to graphic design classes, the projects in school, all that kind of wrapped up weirdly and gave confidence to some people who seek for subjects that, for example, were not normal to study. So when when they say parents expect us to go to university, it's not just expectation, because parents obviously wish the best for their kids, even though if they can't afford it, because I'm not from a rich family, university is fucking expensive.
Crazy expensive.
And if you want to go free, you have to study at the top, you know, percentile of the, not just your class, of your school or your region.
But this is in Lithuania, you're
talking. Yeah, in Lithuania.
That's why we went abroad, because we would not... We wouldn't have hit that percentile, no chance. At
it was impossible.
Man, like...
especially knowing our examination system. No, half people fail their own language exam. Like, how is that? Where else in the world you can fail your own language exam? Like, it's fucking insane. So I think we were structured...
Do you remember what you got, like, on the Lithuanian language exam? Because I remember exactly terrible. 67. Because we have up to 100 points. I got 67. I was like,
literature was terrible, because I used to be good in analysis and interpretation.
And then they changed it, man. Like,
they changed the grading
1 year
system.
after I had my exams, they dropped like...
they dropped analysis.
They dropped something else, I think, as well.
Like,
it just got so much easier. But anyway, so listen, the basketball thing, like, obviously, like you said, you phased out of dancing. Then basketball started. Did you like? And in basketball, did you ever had like an idea that I'm going to be a pro? Like, was that the goal?
No, there never was. It was just something to do. Also, my best friends in my yard and in school were all kind of like very athletic or athletes / jocks, you know, that kind of people.
So you have to like always others, like, be catching up basically to them.
So you have to be good. And then in school we would play pickup games, and I wasn't amazing, but I wasn't terrible. And when we play like school against school, you know, had like some games I would score 20 points or anything in just few minutes, in just like span of like 10-15 minutes.
No, but that's
so good. I would feel like, I'm lucky, you know. I should try and trial for a team.
It's funny, like, I don't, like, you know, when you can visualize a memory, I cannot visualize you playing basketball anymore, because it was so long ago. Like 11 years we played, but I have no recollection of you actually, like, how you move, how you shoot. Like, I have no idea. That's why here in Malta I was like, come,
we need to play,
because we have like pickup games as well. You know, with
we
friends.
Need to go play outside, because I'm more of an outside person now. Because a few weeks ago, when I was last time in Malta, I went to play with the local team, and I thought gonna die. And for half an hour, I was like, just shoot me, just fucking shoot me. And there was another guy, it was a Serbian guy, and then a Spanish guy as well, but my age, and they haven't played for 10 years as well. And we're looking at each other, your life is like, fucking barely, man.
but
but it's good.
You shouldn't expect anything else. I mean,
no, you're gonna get back into the groove. At least we still could shoot, so that was a good thing. Okay, that wasn't embarrassing. But running around, young people was difficult.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Malta is not basketball country, like for sure. But like I have never played more basketball anywhere else than here. Maybe at university when I was playing for the uni team in the University of Derby, but like I never played that much and that consistently as well.
Yeah,
unless like I get sick or like when the son was born, there was like a gap.
Yeah. Here people have regular meetups, which is good. I've noticed.
And I think that the older you get, you kind of, especially if you find a group of people who play regularly, if you can stick to their routine, they become friends as well as teammates, on the court. So yeah, but like, okay, so basketball wasn't a thing you're gonna chase basically as a profession.
What happened is that I started playing, and then I played with one team. I would go to summer camps as well. So with grueling exercises, wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh,
it's
like
freezing.
Military.
Yeah, and then you run a few miles to the beach. You're still in your basketball gear, regardless of the weather. You'll be running drills up to the sand dunes and back, and then you run
barefoot in sand.
No, in a full gear.
But like on sand with
basketball shoes. It's terrible.
Oh, that's insane.
And it's so heavy, and you're gasping for air, and you see the ocean over there, and sometimes you see like people coming, tourists laying down, enjoying the sunshine, and we're fucking dying over there. And it's just like, oh my god, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? And you would do that 3 times a day. 3 times a day.
3 times training?
Yeah, for 2 weeks. So that's a summer camp.
But what was your age at the time? Like 16?
16, yeah, I was 16.
So they kind of try to wear you out. Like
at
16,
they try to break you.
Nothing.
Yeah,
that's
but have so much
you,
energy. And in the evening, because this is summer camp, you have people from all the cities around Lithuania coming over. You have like girls from Vilnius, and you're like, oh my god.
That's the only reason you went.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, there's a disco every night. And you're like, yeah, we have to wake up at 5 in the morning.
Did you smuggle alcohol in?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. But nothing crazy. Everyone did. Like beers would be okay because we know if we drink spirits, we couldn't perform the next day. So you were mindful of that. Not too crazy, but because we were 2 teams, you go team 1, which is older one, and then a youngster team, which I was part of. Okay. So it's double trouble because they are 18 plus. We are 16 plus.
So they can't legally drink.
So it's like, and we're all friends because we're all part of the same group. So it's just a trouble. So we would go out every night.
but it was like within a constrained area. Yeah, like you wouldn't go out to
within the summer camp. Yeah, but when obviously after lunchtime training, if you feel good, not broken, after a few days you start getting the rhythm. So you walk
lactic acid wears out, and you're like, okay,
you're unbreakable. Nobody can kill you. So you go, you dress up, you go to Šventoji or Palanga, which is not far. There is a water park.
And where was the camp? In between somewhere?
It's called Ragane. It's in between Palanga and Šventoji.
I only know
it's very old school, like red brick, post-Soviet Union building.
That kind of vibe.
But it's a good location because it's middle of nowhere. Nobody can bother you, and the beach is just nearby. And you go forest around if you want to go for a run. It was a good time. Yeah, I think it was a good challenge. I remember. But that's the thing I would have I thought, I'm not going to chase that as a professional career.
And did you see other guys like way better, right?
Yeah, Čiurlionis school come, everyone comes.
But I mean from your city.
Oh yeah, so if you
even in your team there were probably someone.
Some people who score 45 points every game, like consistently left-handers. I'm left-handed, so I was very motivated to be like.
So you're so annoying to guard.
Yeah. I'm an annoying guy. So that's why they put me as a forward, light forward, and then I was like, he's better than as a point guard or as a number light 4 or 3.
So you were 2-3.
Yeah. So I could change because I could still score, but wasn't heavy enough or tall enough to be, forward. So I was like, okay, so put it as a point guard, and that worked for me good as a position. because I could, run fast, I could score anytime.
So you have handles, like you could handle the ball.
I had, not anymore.
Not anymore?
No, now it's just
now it's like just bouncing the ball with sticks.
I would hate looking at myself right now from outside because it would be just so embarrassing.
Man, I didn't play for 2 weeks because I was sick a bit, and I went back last Monday, first time after 2 weeks. I was like out of breath, couldn't dribble, couldn't pass. Like it was horrible.
You feel old.
Like, and the guy, like I had the Spanish guy, like we played one against one, and he would just like pass me on the first step. That's it. Like,
done.
And it was like, is that the age or is that the I didn't play for 2 weeks?
Yeah,
probably.
It's just a little break
both,
and you're out
probably
of it.
Both. Yeah,
it doesn't take much. But I remember in our team, like I said, people from 18 plus age group, they were at the level where they would fly to United States to try for D-League or NBA, and they would recap us all the experience, and show the videos and everything, and it was insane.
So in those camps, someone who was like at the highest level right now, like you met some guys probably, no?
Yeah. So from our
age?
town, from our neighborhood, you had people who would fly. And they would go to these camps. And obviously NBA also make camps in Paris, London, in all these big areas.
But I mean like from our like age range, like for example Kuzminskas, he's kind of our age, right? So you probably, maybe you don't remember, but in those camps you probably were training together, or they were there.
One of them,
at the time, right?
Yeah. So probably what we know as superstars, they've probably been amongst us. We just don't pay attention sometimes.
Because maybe they didn't stand out at the time.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, you don't have to be a crazy good player. Like be extreme at everything. You just have to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're consistent, you're gonna survive.
And I feel it's the maturity as well. Like the guys who achieved a lot, who play now like in EuroLeague or like national team, they were super mature even when they were like 15 or 16. Like their attitude towards training was different from other guys.
Yeah. Also, they play smart. You play with your brain, not just with your
and it's talent
skill.
as well. Some of them were just like built for basketball.
I remember you used to get Orange Virus basketball competition, right?
Man,
and
that was like the
everyone wanted to win it,
goal.
but it's impossible because you play with men. You literally you would have age groups, but as you come out from your groups, you start to merge with other people, and then next thing you know, you play with some gang members, and you're like, fuck.
Either gang members or it used to be like semi-professionals. Who would have weight, they would have skills.
And you have just a coach standing outside. Like, what the fuck? They have a coach. It's a street basketball game. No, they have a fucking coach outside. Like, oh my god, we fucked.
and you just come there like. Just a couple of hours ago, you were begging for money from parents to register because it used to be expensive, I think. Like
40, 50 liters, I think. So currently it would be like 10, 15 euros,
which is not that much, right? Like,
fuck, we were poor.
But at the time, what you would get for that? I think just the jersey.
You would get a jersey,
And DJ Mamane playing.
Yes, and the Gatas would be around. You could see famous
But it was a cool vibe. They would close off one of the main streets.
Yeah, music, people who like the sport. People showing tricks with basketball, I remember.
And
that was cool.
That's where you would see the guys who either went pro or had like really big potential to become pros.
So a few guys from our team, I remember, they would register under 2 names, which is illegal, by the way. And you would play with youngsters, so your age group, like normal 16 plus, and then you play with adults, 18 plus.
Okay.
And then he sometimes would have, I know a few friends, I don't want to say names, but they're not professionals. They have teams, either coaching in Ireland, or Scotland, or whatever. They made it as coaches right now, but they used to play very good. And they would play one game, pickup game, for how much used to play? 21 points, right?
I think 21 points or 10 minutes.
10 minutes, maybe.
Something like that.
So he would finish one game, and then he has to look at the schedule. He has another game. He goes to another game. Sometimes 2 games happen same time. So these guys would play. Then they would be like, change me.
Time out.
Time out. Or they have 4 people. So his friend changes and he runs to another game and he plays another game. And they would do that all day.
But was that to increase your chances to win?
Yeah.
Or is it just to have more playing time?
I don't know. I think they were just crazy, first of all, and they just want to increase their chances probably.
Can you imagine how much
so
energy
tiring.
we had at the time?
Yeah. And that was normal. That was okay. You finish one game and you're like, all right, let's do another one. And like, what the fuck? Now I'll be like gasping for air and I'll be like, give me a seat. Where can I sit down?
Yeah.
But it used to be different times.
And basketball finished when you went studying, I guess, right?
Yeah. So the reason why I quit, even though I loved it, I went from one team to another, and I had amazing trials over there because I played with the number 1 team and number 2 team, and we've beaten them all. We've beaten them every evening. The 3 people who trialed from previous team, we just beaten the shit out of them. One game after another, to the point where we couldn't walk. Like I couldn't walk because so much lactic acid, I couldn't use my legs. So then, coach came to me and was like, yeah, you accepted. Yeah. And then I didn't stay for too long because I started seeing my education as a driving vehicle for my future and parents as well. And we weren't like very rich or well off. So I remember my dad got a job in Norway, so started traveling a lot. And
at the time, the word Norway meant
it's like fucking cash, mate.
Yeah.
This is a cash cow. And if you're working legally, you registered, you have pension, everything was above the board. Mate, this is rare. People work in fish factories and they removing spines from fishes and eyes, and that's the dream job. And
man, I did that for like
really?
maybe because we went there for 3 months, then we came back, then we went again for 3 months. It was like kind of like the shift based work.
Yeah.
And it's like work. It could be a separate podcast about experience, working in those factories.
Yeah. So like my mom asked me, what do you want to do? Because I had success with all those projects in school and won a couple of school awards for best presentation, best project of the year, that kind of thing. And these were all self-driven or self-initiated projects that, weren't according to curriculum, but they were like showing some certain direction. I remember my IT teacher spoke with parents and they said, Karolis really has a skill and attitude, and I think opportunity to seek that kind of direction. And I remember my mom asked me, like, what would you like to do in your future? When you finish school, what's on your mind? What's the next step? And I thought, with all this encyclopedia reading and all that crap that I collected in my mind, my dream was like, I want to go live in America or somewhere abroad. I'd never seen me staying in Lithuania. That never was an option. Like in my mind, I finished school, I'm out. This is it.
And it wasn't pushed from
No,
parents.
that was me.
It just came up in your head.
As soon as as much as I can remember looking back, my dream was like a house in LA and a design office that I'm part of, something like that. But was the creative driven?
It's so weird, like that you found design as well in IT class, like.
It
just came up for no reason, but like you felt naturally drawn
so
to
the way
design
it
somehow.
all kind of worked out because I learned Photoshop and stuff like that. I would edit photos creatively. Now you look back, I have all the files, so when I look at my laptop I just want to cry how terrible the work is. It's just like I cannot believe someone thought this is any good. But that kind of like gave me these projects. And,
did you get cracked versions?
Yeah, everything was illegal. Like, everything was illegal, but that's what they do. They make you invest.
We are the generation of IT pirates, basically.
Yeah, we used to crack everything. Now you give it to this generation kid, like oh, where's the app? I can't open the app. Like, dude, you have no idea how the code works. We could crack anything. Computer games, easy.
It's funny because I heard this guy, you probably know him, Ilya Larus. He's Lithuanian, venture investor, I think. And something he said about like generation of who were like born around 90s.
Yeah.
That this generation is now thriving in like IT sector just because of that there was no access to software or like even movies, music. Like you had either to torrent it or find some other service which was illegal to get the stuff that you needed.
That's exactly how it works.
And it kind of like we grew up on that mindset that okay, if I cannot afford it, I can find it online somewhere,
And sometimes even if you could afford it, let's say you couldn't buy that easily because you either didn't have internet at the time or even when you had an internet. It just was so complicated because you live in Lithuania and you say, what is Lithuania? Nobody fucking knows what is it. So there was no market for certain softwares even there. So even if you want to get a license, it's difficult. It's very annoying.
It's so weird that we had and still have really fast internet. Even at that time,
in the world.
It was like insane. Like when I would like from FTP server, I would download movie like in 5 seconds.
Yeah, you could click the movie.
So fast.
You drag and drop to your desktop. You click on it, and you're already streaming, watching.
Yeah.
Even though it's still downloading, you're watching a movie. This is how fast the internet was 20 years ago.
And I think it still is.
Crazy.
I mean, it didn't. It didn't get worse
in the world.
It didn't get worse.
Yeah. So, like, we should give a shout out to Linkomania because otherwise we wouldn't exist here.
I lost the account, man.
Really? Yeah. I still have it. I still use it.
You still use it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Man,
it's the only torrent site
I
lost
it because I wasn't seeding.
Yeah.
So, the ratio that you have
dropped
just kept dropping.
0.8, I think.
And then they block it at some point.
Yeah.
And I lost it, but...
I got an invite because of my neighbor's friend was the guy who knows guy from Pinky Continente. Is the guy who runs the servers. Which is official business that runs on a illegal torrent site.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, it was on their server.
I didn't know who was behind Linkomania.
Yeah, because they were sued by Microsoft. And this is the only torrent website, as far as I know, in the world that reached agreement with Microsoft.
Really?
Yeah, so they didn't have to pay any money. So they just removed all the Microsoft stuff, like Windows copies, but they can't keep stocking everything else they have on the website. So Microsoft was happy.
It's good it didn't end up like Pirate Bay.
No, they didn't have to escape. It's still the same website, and you can still use it, which is amazing. I think we owe everyone to that website for all the free software you could download. Yeah. So thank you.
I really want to talk about the London experience as well, because I mean... you went there to study, and that's kind of self-explanatory, I guess.
So the way it all started was in Lithuania when my parents asked me what I want to do. I had that vision abroad, and then my mom asked, okay, it's going to be obviously expensive, and we'll try to help you as much as we can. And I was saving money as well. And taking any small projects from classmates or friends or online.
Like design projects?
Yeah, like logos.
Oh, okay, so you started freelancing already?
Yeah. And we get paid, like 50 liters, which is like...
For nothing. A logo or something?
Yeah, something simple, or someone help out with like a book. Like I designed my first project ever was a book that got published. It was for my classmate who sadly passed away after the book was published. But she gave me this project, and that's how I learned to work with InDesign. So that's a publishing software for books and print and presentations. Man, and that was my first project. That was at 16, 17 years old.
It just connected in my head. You were from that class that the girl passed out during graduation?
Yeah, I was dancing with her. Yeah. So she died in front of my eyes.
I literally got chills right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I heard that story, obviously, because it happened around the same time.
So we worked for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months together every evening, and with my teacher as well. designing the book. So I Photoshop all the illustrations. I made.
What was the book about? Like poetry?
It's poetry. Yeah. It's pretty good. I still have the first copy, which is pretty cool.
Man, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. I don't know if I want to go there. I know that story,
sad.
but I never.
It's very sad.
I never realized that you were from that class.
Yeah.
You know?
So my mom, I remember in the morning after. Because it was graduation. It's the best thing.
Literally,
as in a young
it happened on the dance floor.
Yeah. Just past midnight, and then it turned into commemoration. So we went to Sandvåge with the candles and the little floaters, and we released floaters into
I remember there was a big buzz about that.
And the next morning,
and everyone got like shook.
But it was like she had a big heart. That was her condition. So that was
big heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that she was waiting for surgery.
Yeah,
or something?
yeah. She got surgery I think in Germany or somewhere pending. So yeah, happens. That was like a good opportunity to kind of like. I was given basically a opportunity by her to kind of show what I can do. And really appreciate her.
But it's so traumatizing to experience something like that. Yeah. I experienced not similar. I mean, it's kind of similar thing. One of the girls from my class, she got into like a car accident. The car was spinning. It hit like the wall, and she hit her head on the metal construction, between front and back door.
Yeah, the B pillar.
And she hit it was done.
Crazy.
But like to go through that experience at like 18, 19, it's very traumatizing. Anyway, and in your case, I feel it's kind of almost poetic in a way. Like on graduation night.
Yeah, it's when you become an adult. Usually, this is what it means.
It's already like a milestone day. In your life.
For every young person, graduation is one of the most important things in life.
And then something like that happens. It's
so
crazy.
My mom said the next morning, we're still in the clothes, we're drunk or hangover, we're going to school because we need to open the fund to fund it, fund the funeral, and help it somehow, however we can. And I remember my mom said in the morning, you had to grow up in one day,
instantly.
So your life, didn't change as much, but because of the events, you had to grow up really fast. And then I think, that kind of was one of the people who gave me one of those actual official projects, which I had a chance to flex my design skills and learn on the go as well, because most of the design is you're learning as you do. If you don't, you say yes to opportunity and then you just roll with it and you have to do it. So what happened is I learned within design. I did official presentation again in Bita Petkevičaitė Bibliotech, and it was new building then after refurbishment. The book got sold out very fast. And it was a very, very big success. And then
but this happened before graduation.
Just before, literally half year before. And then I got asked, what would you like to do? So I said, okay, I want to go study creative media, something design related in France, Spain, Italy, England, or New York, because there's only a few places where you can do it with the online application. And at that time it was wild west for me, because no one in my circle of friends or my immediate circle has ever went to university, first of all, or has even tried to apply to university abroad. Let alone in different language studying and let alone design something creative. So one thing I learned when I started going with the process is that you need to have a portfolio. Before you even finish school, you already been working on your portfolio for a few years. Luckily for me, I started working with 3D design, like 3ds Max, since I was 14.
Cracked.
So, yeah. So I was like, how does this 3D design work? And I would sit for hours. I remember the first thing I designed was a touch screen smartphone with no buttons. It was round shaped. And that's years before iPhone came out. So I didn't even have an idea about touchscreens. And I designed this
That's
phone.
like visionary.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I cracked this. This is fucking amazing. And then...
You probably could have sold the concept for Apple for like...
Yeah, for something.
Millions
I don't know. But every time I see a new concept that comes out now, and you think like, I had that 10 years ago.
And we still didn't get to the round smartphone.
No,
it's still
squarish. Someone had the concept. I remember, and I saw that concept. I remembered my design. I was like, I was ahead of time.
So obviously, from all those countries, you chose UK, or you got accepted in UK.
So I applied to Brunel University, which is number 2 in design, as far as I know, in Europe. This one is Oxford.
Where, in UK.
UK, London, West London University. It's named after Isambard Kingdom Brunel, which is the great engineer and inventor and propagist of the train stations, all that kind of bridge structures. He's a civil engineer. So, and by that time, when the application process kind of started gaining momentum, I needed to get a IELTS, International English Learning Test exam.
So to prove that you can actually speak and write in
so
English.
I did that. I passed pretty well. I don't remember my final result, but was like a few points above what was minimum requirement.
Barely made it.
Yeah. And then I had one thing that's also very strange compared to a normal application process in universities. You have to go to an interview. So creative people you have to fly to interview with your portfolio, and you have to bring a physical portfolio, and you have to sit down against other people who apply to the same role, and you basically have to present your work with the interviewee people.
But it's one-on-one, or it's like a group
No, it's
interview.
a group of people, yeah. So for example, Queen
So
Mary,
you're like competing live almost.
Yeah, you're competing live, and you have to be better than them. So you like from day one, I was like 17. First time I'm flying, abroad basically, and I'm going to London with my mom, and a super expensive city. Luckily, had some friends who kind of like let us stay with them
on the couch. Almost no.
No, I had a bedroom, which is very very good.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for them for letting us stay. Also, when I moved for full time, they allowed me to live with them for a few months till I found my bearings. But that was like very crazy, because imagine everyone around you, all your friends, they revising for exams, for the final school exams, and I'm fucking filing applications to different schools. Everything has to be done in English with notary. You have everything that gets sent out has to be approved. Every paper costs like 40 or 50 litas.
Did you do that through the agency?
No, I did by myself.
Because I did it through, what was the name? Casto.lt.
Oh, yeah.
There was like an office in our city where you went.
No, I did everything myself.
For 100 litas, I think, they did one application, and they filled in everything for you. Obviously, you gave them details that they need, but they did everything for you. They communicate with the universities, and you either get accepted, like you either, because I got accepted, but there was a condition. Like there was 2 acceptances.
Conditional offers.
Conditional or unconditional. So I got the condition. I think that I had to have the average of my grades above 7.3. Something like that. And that was the only condition. I know people who got like very specific conditions, for example, like no less than 9 out of chemistry,
so for me,
or something.
Physics, no less than 8, I think, or 9. Maths, 9. English, I passed. Whatever that was, it was okay. I was also 9, I think, English for exam, which is 90. I passed 93% English exam. And all these different conditions. So I had 2 offers when I flew in with my portfolio, like with my mom going there, and it's very daunting because everyone's still preparing for their exams, and you got flying to foreign country already sorting your university stuff, and your friends are still just like, we're doing homework, going to parties, and everyone's still living life, and you're already planning next 5 years. So
That's
you have to be ahead.
Like exams are pressure.
Yeah, and I had that since I was like much younger. Like when I picked the CAD software, 3D design, so all the Photoshop, I was already building my portfolio years before I even applied to go abroad. So I was kind of like always working ahead a few years. And that was kind of crazy because once I got there, I was like, oh, luckily I don't have to prepare extra work for my portfolio because I already had automatically been working on it in one shape or form. So I went to Queen Mary Design Communication College in Elephant and Castle, and it was super modern, everyone's cool, rolling paper, smoking. My mom was like, oh, this is so fucking awesome, isn't it? This university.
What was it her first time in London?
Yeah, and she loved it.
And for you it was first time as well.
Yeah, and we were like from very small town, two people like just always flabbergasted, just big eyes looking at buildings around people, the speed of life, how much is going on around us.
I imagine like in your mom's head as well, like once she saw London, she wanted you even more to go. Just because you can experience this,
Yeah. And for me, it's like, this is amazing because this is what drives me. I like that kind of like buzzing lifestyle. And
I think even visually, because you're a very visual person, and visually, like once you see where you have a chance to end up, like you get more motivation. Like I want to be here. Like what I see around me, I like that, and I want to be part of it. I feel like
this is part of me, and I could be part of this as well.
Yeah, I just admire, man, like your determination and like your focus on like you said. Guys were partying when you were filling in applications, and
I'm doing everything by
and you
myself.
had like a clear goal,
It's when you look back now, I don't miss anything because I didn't miss anything.
Because you party now, they partied then, you party now.
I can do whatever the hell I want now. So I had a good time. I had good times, in the past, obviously, and I'm happy I took the risk. It was daunting. I'm happy that my parents had faith in me. And they said, no, we will support whatever you do. And we had those 2 interviews with 2 universities, and we picked our favorite, Brunel. But Queen Mary literally sent me an email evening of the same day you accepted unconditionally. And my mom was like, would you want to go there? Which is cool, super new, flashy, all IMAX everywhere. It's amazing. City center. Couldn't be a better option. But Brunel is historically... premium.
More respected.
Like Queen Mary is like 30 plus ratings just in UK, and Brunel in Europe is number 2. So, or the world is top 5. Like when it comes to product design engineering, and then you're like, okay, I'll wait. I'll take the risk. I'm already risking so much. Because I could with the same degrees, same grades now in Lithuania and VGTU, I could study civil engineering for free because of my grades. And I didn't apply. My friends applied for those courses, and they got accepted, and they obviously went studying.
But you would get like Soviet Union kind of attitude still,
probably,
I guess, Like,
now it's better, but
a lot of lecturers are like
now
that.
It's better, but there wasn't such thing. Like I want to study product design, engineering design, or robotics, or something like that. That wasn't even available in none of the universities. You tell someone, "Oh, I'm studying design," people are like, "What is that?" Like. And now, yes, we have these studies, and it only took 10 plus years to get there. But at that time, in England, was already established as a design powerhouse. People who work at Apple, all from England. So I kind of like had this thing in my mind. I really need to pursue this and take the risk. And even if I get conditional offer from Brunel, I'll accept it, and I'll do whatever it takes to pass my exams and get those scores that I needed. So what happened is that we spent almost a week with my mom in London. I remember standing by the Tower Bridge, and in the evening, all the lights light up, people buzzing around, and my mom told me, she said, "I see you coming back here. You'll be back."
She felt it.
Yeah, she's like, "You'll be back soon."
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I returned home. I did exams. I passed everything, but not the way I wanted to pass or the way my conditional offer wanted. It had me passing. So what I did, I contact the university, and they said, yeah, everything's fine. You just need to, the best option for you to do, and most European students have to do this, is you apply for foundation studies anywhere, even to around
like foundation year.
Yeah, foundation years. It could be anywhere between 6 to 9 months.
Which you still have to pay for, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like additional
I took the
cost.
risk, applied to Greenwich University in London, and amazing campus, beautiful location, and I flew there. I moved over there to London in 2009, beginning of October, I think. And that...
Because the studies start
they start a bit late, end of September.
Yeah,
but you have like a
September.
freshers week and all of that. For foundation students, it doesn't really apply. So I think I didn't really need it, all of that. Usually I have a guidance and orientation, but I didn't need any of that. So I went to university, registered, and when I went there, my course didn't exist. So the course I applied to didn't collect enough of a class.
Okay.
Or it was like a old brochure or something, so it wasn't available anymore. So I was standing in register, and I'm like, okay, you need to pick a different subject that's still compliant with subjects that are required for another university that I have an offer for. So I'm standing there talking with this person who's trying to kind of help me to curate everything, and I'm saying, all right, so it's design, engineering, that's what I'm going for. And then we picked one foundation study that was called Systems Design Engineering, I think. So systems is anything that like...
sounds very math-based.
Yeah, it was maths, but also structures. So the first projects were with Lego Mindstorms, then with solar panels, you learn how to do PCB boards, how to design
soldering.
boards. Yeah, soldering, how solar panels work, how sensors work. You learn the kinetics, so physics, engineering mathematics, parts of marketing, team communications, all these different foundations subjects kind of tied into what was the course that kind of set me up for being accepted to Brunel University. And all whilst I was studying 3 times a week, I also had no money. So I'm renting this small, tiny room in Greenwich. Great location, super expensive, close to university, but I have no money because, I'm not well off. And please do mind, this is 2009. This is just after credit crash.
That was pretty bad.
Nobody had any money, and especially Europe, like America, it's everything's super expensive, and nobody has any money. So
and UK was still recovering.
And perfect time to go study abroad, where everything is 5 times more expensive than your currency, because that's what it was. Everything was 5 times conversion rate.
I thought about it as well. Like I didn't realize at the time, because like as a kid or as a teenager, you heard about it, but because you don't have to make money, it didn't impact you that much.
You don't clock it as much. But I remember I went there and I was like, all right, I need to find a job. And I found a job in Sports Direct on Oxford Street.
Sports Direct.
Yeah, everyone fucking knows it. And I hated my life there. I worked there throughout all my foundation and throughout 3 years of university.
Did you have those walkie-talkies?
Yeah. A guy with the radio. I worked in footwear, so I know how to read barcodes, all the brands, all the names for each shoe, all of that nonsense. But luckily, at least I had a job that I could depend on.
Do you remember what you got? Like, what was the hourly at the time? Because I remember
I got more.
You didn't make much as a student.
No, but luckily I remember I had an interview. I was sitting with a manager in Oxford Street store, and she goes through like 20 people in just the afternoon with applicants. And I'm like, I have no fucking chance. I've literally just been here for 3 weeks. I have no chance going to get this job. And
you have to stand out. That's the only way.
And she like started talking to me, what do you do? I'm studying. This is ideally would be a part-time thing, but I live nearby. I can move when my university is there. Then I'm going to another. And she's like, all right, you
I have no idea. Greenwich, that's close to Oxford Street somewhere, or?
It's not too far, but it's within the city limits.
Okay.
So it would be.
I only know zones in London.
Yeah,
so
it'd be very easy to commute.
So Oxford, obviously, zone 1.
Yeah.
But you would live not in zone 1, right?
No, it would be like a zone 2, borderline 3.
But that's pretty good.
But because the way the river kind of goes around the city, it's very easy connection. It wouldn't take anything.
Yeah.
So everyone, I think minimum at the time was £5.72.
Yeah, around £6. Around £6.
Yeah. And I was given $6.20. So I'm like, everyone's getting these numbers.
She obviously liked you.
Yeah. And I'm like, why the fuck? Why? She's giving me like 50p extra on what she's supposed to give me. And I'm just a part-timer. I don't expect them to kind of like do crazy hours.
Did you ever think, how did I got the job when I'm a foreigner? When there's loads of British students applying,
everyone was
probably?
English spoken, and I'm like, my English was terrible. Probably spoken English was terrible.
I wonder, like, did they judge you like on the looks or something?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
How did
Maybe I just got lucky, and I really appreciate. And all the managers over there were like super funny, encouraging. Obviously, because of the earrings at the time, I still didn't have those big holes, but I couldn't have.
Oh, you had the blings?
Yeah, I had those, but then I had one growing. Like, I had the stretcher growing. And I remember manager saying, your dress code, you're not compliant with dress code. You can't have a chain, so I removed it. And then, you can't have crazy hair. All right, fuck it, you can have it, because I dye my hair all the time, different colors. And I had this, so I said, you can't work like that. So I pulled my earrings out, and my manager's like, put them back. I was like,
it's better with a tunnel.
Yeah. So that's like how I beaten the dress code. But that's like, I kind of knew I have a good rapport with the staff and managers. And then if I work really well, they would give me way more extra hours. So I was doing full-time hours on a part-time contract. And then
so you would pay part-time. I still don't understand.
Taxes will work out.
Because I used to do the same, and I was like, okay, so I'm a part-time contract, but obviously the tax department sees how many hours I worked.
Yeah, they will do normal taxes, based on our time. But so when I was studying, I would hustle working at the same time, and I would sleep like 4 hours a day, and it was super complicated, super tired every time. And that continued for all the years that I was studying.
In Sports Direct, like you stayed there?
Yeah. I stayed there up until my final year when I turned over when I went to Brunel final year.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience. Like Brunel University is probably the best places to learn how to study, because they teach you all the different subjects from electronics to graphic design, product design, 3D. You learn how to work in a laboratory or like a workshop, how to work with metal machining, turning, lathe, all these different things. You learn how to do realistic models that look like real, that they could work, but they don't, or you can embed,
like concept models.
Concept building. Also, learn how to work with plastics, wood, milling, turning, you name it, everything. And we'll spend hours every week, honing those skills. So even though if you don't end up working, I don't know, as a computer rat, in the end, you could be working in a workshop. Because you learn all of those skills. You can literally, everything you can design a computer, you could make it by hand. That was the idea.
Okay, we had the break. Just so everyone knows why there was a cut.
So you asked me about photography. And
because you had, like I said, you had amazing shots, especially when you were shooting with DSLR camera, I suppose. Now, like, I still like follow you and like you have that eye for things that takes a lot of time to develop. Like, I don't see, like you would see a cat perfectly aligned with like a lamp post or like you know those kind of things where naturally people they don't see that, and I don't know if that comes from like your design mindset.
Oh yeah,
you know?
looking for a balance frame. That's
like
where you learn
negative space, all that kind of stuff,
so look
right?
like a rule of thirds, that kind of thing, and weight, evenly weighted kind of hierarchy within the frame. And those things kind of all started because of the design education. I remember when I was studying in year 2 in Brunel, you have to create a portfolio and apply for your year 3 placement. And placement is a professional placement where you gain skills.
Like an agency or something.
Yeah, so you work, you get paid, you're still a student, but you get a whole year of professional experience in industry.
And
so
that's mandatory? Or
that's not mandatory, but in my course it was. Everyone had to do it. So if you get a job, you don't have to jump to next year and continue your studies. You actually go to work, and you work with anything, Jaguar, Land Rover, there were automotive companies, Dyson, Oxo, just many different companies.
But what if you don't manage to find something? Like
it's
university
hard, but university
helps you?
has some contacts. Yeah, I remember I was working in a workshop, and the PT is head of the school. Amazing guy. Used to work for Coca-Cola, Tangerine Design, Tangerine, which ended up being one of the companies that supervises Apple. And he is the heavyweight of the industry.
I didn't know Apple needed supervision.
No. Because people end up working over there.
Okay.
So, and he was one of the first people who kind of worked there. And he came one day to workshop, just looking at people working, seeing how we're doing. And he said, KJ, I know you like your photography because I've seen you like photos on your projects. But I used to use my cheap Samsung smartphone because I didn't have a camera. I was way too poor for that. And I already was playing with Photoshop and Illustrator. I would make these conceptual posters with city photography from my phone pictures. And the director of school kind of recognized that. And he said, I spoke with people from Chanel. And I want them, you send a teaser. Don't send a full portfolio. Just make something out of the left field. Just kind of like, don't follow the rules. Just go fuck it. Send something like a 4-page poster book. I was like, okay. So I made this big A2 format, black and white poster design kind of booklet with some photography from my phone. And I've literally just gave that away to Chanel. And then next thing I know, they invite me for interview. I was shortlisted with top 5 people.
That's like headquarters in London or something?
Yeah, in Bond Street, New Bond Street. And I go to their office. I had 2 interviews that day. So both companies wanted me. And that's kind of lucky, because some people get 1 interview and you're already like, hooray. I was wanted by 2 companies, same day.
I don't think this is luck. This is, hard work and like being at the right spot.
At the right time, and taking the right risks.
And there was something that they
saw. I'm not a risk taker, as I don't take risks. But everything that I have now, was because, someone believed in me and gave me a chance. And because I kind of was stupid enough to do some stupid mistake. I took a risk that was like totally, unnecessary. Like the project brief is this, and that. Don't do this. And I'm like, let's do this. And then the people who gave you the project like, I like this guy.
but this is, I feel like this is, a sign of a good artist. Like, in general, like a lot of artists, they're rebels and they become someone big because they did not
probably didn't
not
follow
against the rules,
Like
they didn't follow the rules. Even like if you look at same Apple, like Steve Jobs, like he did things his way. That's why he became who he became.
Did the opposite.
And I feel like generally in life, to achieve something, you constantly have to either take a risk or put yourself somewhere where you're like very uncomfortable.
Oh, So all of these things happen because every single time I was way out of my comfort zone. Like I'm an introvert. I'd rather sit at home in front of a screen and I could be alone for days. No, I wouldn't care, because that's my comfort zone. But everything that's happened, it was because I went on a stage in front of 100 people and presented my, Photoshop project. And that thing turned into me flying somewhere to a different country, not studying in my own language, but in foreign language, above all else. And then always putting myself in a risky position that kind of set me up for new opportunities. And I always kind of try to tell people, be mindful of these risks, but don't be afraid to take a leap. And if you take the leap, please be committed to that.
I feel like there's basically two types of people. People who actually, they obviously no one likes to be uncomfortable, but there's one type that knows that it's gonna be uncomfortable, but they still push themselves. And there are people who will think, oh, it's not gonna be comfortable. I don't feel safe, and I'm not gonna do it.
Or you'll be judged
and that's the difference.
Or you'll be judged. Our attitude in Lithuania, because the post-Soviet attitude is what others gonna say, think, or believe about us. Because why you dress like that? Why you talk like that? Why you don't want to stay here? Why you moving? Why you studying over there? You better than us? It's always judgmental attitude. Everyone's very scared and afraid to be out of the norm. And but all the good things happen because you stepped outside of the norm. That I've noticed, at least in my experience.
I had quite a deep conversation. I don't remember with who, probably my wife, and. I was telling her, I personally, and she agreed, she feels the same. I personally, up to my 30s, I had to constantly fight with this, internal thing. Because, like you said, we were brought up in a way where our parents really cared what neighbors gonna think, what their friends gonna think, etc. And then I was thinking like that till probably I was 30, and then there was this realization at some point that why should I care what other people think, I do my thing, because I see my parents again still caring about that today, and it's so limiting,
or constrained.
And
you're afraid to do anything.
Obviously they didn't know better, so they brought up us that way, but I think once you realize that whatever someone says or how you dress, even if you I don't know, upload content to YouTube, whatever, just an example, there will be people why do you need to go public and show your face? It's just because the thing I want to try to do, not necessarily I'm gonna keep doing it, but I know, and it's a thing that you have to constantly fight with. And I feel our age group from other countries, especially the western part of Europe and States, for example, they don't have that problem. Some people do, but it's not as big as in our generation. For example, from Lithuania, I feel 99% of our generation has that issue that they think of something that other people will tell, and that prevents them from doing things. And then you're fucking 60 and you regret that you didn't do something.
Always take risks.
Because I feel in everyone's life there will be a point where they will say why do I care what others think? But for me personally, it happened at 30. Maybe someone at 50 will realize, and they already lived 50 years with that mindset that kept them from doing things,
So you need someone sometimes in your life to come there and recognize you for what you're trying to achieve, or you have to kind of catch yourself. I'm doing something that's kind of wrong.
I feel UK, even for you probably, meeting other people,
was amazing.
International people, that changed you straight away.
The mindset changed completely. There are these things are possible, So that's when I started experimenting with photography, even though you study design, but you notice that other people have different hobbies. And I'm like, I could have a graphic design hobby, also photography, that's all visual, that could connect together. And that gave me a chance to interview at Chanel. And same day I had 2 interviews, and Chanel moved my interview for me later in the day. So I was one of the last candidates to have an interview just because I had 2 interviews, and they really wanted to meet me. So go to this posh, office. They offer me coffee, nice receptionists everywhere. I was like,
there's
Jesus.
a double C on the coffee made with chocolate.
It's beautiful. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just, I'm in a suit, my best dressed, with a portfolio. I walk into the room and I met Tim Lee, who was a CEO and a creative director for the South Africa and Europe operations of Chanel. And few other guys, I don't remember the names, but now they work for Burberry in architecture of Burberry, and Givenchy, I think. But at that time it was all Chanel. And we had instead of having a 30-minute serious interview, we had like an hour-long just a sit-down conversation, and we kind of like shooting the shit. Like it was, I was afraid. I was expecting to have a serious meeting with suits,
and they just wanted to feel your vibe.
And it was just amazing time, And they gave me an offer right then and there. They still had a few candidates, but they were like, "We want you," and they liked my photography, and instead from all the different things, obviously the teaser that I sent them, the cover was a very simple typographic poster.
Do you still have it?
Yeah,
because I might do an overlay.
Yeah,
so people can see.
Because it's nothing amazing, but at that time I was taking a piss basically from them giving me opportunity. So the cover of my teaser portfolio said, the following work is a result of boredom and time wasting. So, and that's the cover. And then like, okay, so this guy is bored and is wasting time. Why do we have his portfolio?
But this is cool. This is like, you're challenging them in the way,
Like, why should I give him time if this is time wasting? So and
it's like, will you take me seriously, or you will get the concept,
Yeah, and then they obviously saw the smartphone photos with the typography. That's a custom-made typography that I spent hours doing, and it's nothing like super amazing, but it kind of showed the direction of thinking.
But it's interesting, to see it.
And I studied product design, and there was no product design in portfolio. And these guys were looking for a communication media designer. So I literally struck gold with that.
So they hired you?
No. What happened? Because I had 2 interviews that day. So other interview offered me double the money. And
what was the other company?
The other company was Brayform at the time. They super boring, biggest company you never heard of, because they make most of the world's hangers and packaging for clothing, as well as they provide shipping and freight. So they move everything you wear. So if you have anything from, let's say, Marks & Spencer, Zara, Target, Walmart, Carrefour, Pepco, Pep & Co, CNA, you name any brand, Adidas, Nike.
Is that the one you're still with?
Yeah,
right
I'm
now?
Still working for them. So they hired me off the university.
The most boring company.
Yeah. But if you wear clothes now, you're welcome. So
is there a chance I have like a hanger designed by you?
You probably have. Like in the next few months, everything in M&S will be mine. So this already half of the shit is mine, but now we're gonna go to Valletta in M&S. You'll see everything is mine now.
Because we didn't mention in the beginning what you do actually.
Yeah, so product design engineer.
Yeah.
So and that kind of happened quickly because Chanel gave me an offer straight away, and I reviewed it. I had 1 day to think about it, and I told both companies I'll take 1 day. And the CEO, Graham, who's still my CEO, and we work every day with him, he called me directly and said, are you considering? So I have an offer from Chanel, which is like a dream offer, but notice to everyone who wants to go to fashion design, if you're from a rich family, lucky you. But I wasn't. I was still working in a shop, and I was still studying at the same time. So
you were still at Sports Direct.
Yeah, and I was still studying full time. So I was like, all over the fucking place, all whilst trying to study for exams, doing projects. Because in Brunel, you do 8 projects at one time, and you work with real clients. So at that time, I worked with M&S, Mother Care, designing toys for kids, and that's a live project. So you're a student, but you work with the real companies while you're studying. And then you're looking for a job at the same time whilst you're working and studying. So your mind is just going 1,000 miles in all different places, and you're just tired all the time. And then, you get these opportunities where you're like, I have to fucking take it just because there's no other, this is the chance. And I've been lucky with chances all my life. So I'll kind of, I'm not taking this lightly. These don't come every day. Yeah. So I said, I'll take that boring job because this is related to my product design engineering degree. And I said no to Chanel. So I was the first guy ever who said no to Chanel. So I'm an idiot. And that's what Pete C, the head of the design, said to me. So like, KJ, you're the first idiot who said no to Chanel. I was like, really? I said, yeah. So I'm very proud of you. You lured them in. They wanted you. They gave you an offer. Everything. And you just said no.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if you went Chanel?
Yeah, because the same day I met with my friends from course who also were on interview. They were shortlisted.
And they
and
went
one
to
of the
Chanel?
guys got the job. And he just finished that contract with them just a few years ago or last year. So he's been working there for over 10 years. Obviously your salary goes up, but as a student in London for 18,000 pounds a year, you don't even cover rent.
That's what they offered?
Yeah, that was nothing.
Like you would expect more from Chanel.
For student graduate, 26 grand. 14 years ago, that's okay.
Or they saw you as a cheap labor.
Interns, the notorious fashion industry is notorious for intern abuse and cheap contracts and very kind of sketchy labor when it comes to especially like hands-on work. I'm not even talking about, I will be working in the office, I would be top of the creme, so I can't complain. But if you can't afford rent and food and travel, why are you working there? So that's why.
Just so you can say that you work for Chanel.
Yeah, I could have been like foreigner who works for Chanel, but obviously my English counterpart from my peer from my course got the job because I refused.
And you kept in contact with him. Probably.
Yeah. He worked well.
Feedback.
Yeah, he loved it. It was great. They worked on these campaigns where they had Chanel surfboards. So he was one of those campaigns.
Okay.
So if you've seen Chanel surfboard, this is George's work. So good job, George.
So basically, photography became your job in the way.
It became a hobby. Because when I finished,
but it almost gave you a job.
Yeah, almost gave me a job. So that was kind of like, okay, that's a offshot opportunity that could happen sometime in the future. And when I I graduated and I got the job, that boring job again. Because I did the work for 15 months. I didn't have any summer breaks. I didn't have holidays. So I studied, worked for 15 months, then studied again and finished university. And then I was like, okay, I should go on a holiday. Boom, they call me. Would you like to work with us? Full time, full contract, benefits, everything, travel, everything. I'm like, okay. So I didn't have holiday for 5 years, basically. And I was just studying and working all the time. And
that's bad for your mental health, man.
Yeah, so I was lucky to afford ticket to fly home to see family for Christmas. Now I can do that. I'll fly home for 3 months, spend time with family to the point where we hate each other and we have to have a break. But now I can afford that. But at that time, no. And I kind of like had that attitude. Parties later, put in the hard graft now, and then you can reap the benefits. How much I hate that, it actually works. So anyone who's out there like grinding and sad and crying and they don't know what to do, just to give up, like just keep fucking trucking, just keep going, keep grinding, because you wouldn't be in that position here if there wasn't for a reason that inspired you to be here in the first place. And keep trying to remind that reason why you're here, you know. There's probably a goal in the end of the tunnel, and that's kind of what drove me. And even though, I got the good opportunity and I refused it, but I kind of kept feeding back into, you know, whom I was becoming probably as a professional person, or just as a person who's found themselves abroad, studying, working, going through these challenges, you know, by himself, just because, you know, there was no one in my family who's done that before. Even my friend circles who've done exactly the same thing. So I'm literally just out in the ocean by myself. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But I started working. I got the offers. I was a good employee. Likely, if they gave me an offer to continue working full time after I graduated. And what happened is that when you start getting your routine, your life, work, and it becomes a routine. So for me, an escape from that routine, because I hate routine, I fucking hate routine, was photography.
Drugs. Oh, okay.
Yeah, drugs was great as well, but
which is kind of a drug.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
for me, it's you grab bought a camera with the first money I got, and
what was the camera?
Canon EOS 500D or 750D with the flip screen.
Oh,
I need a flip screen.
And it was touch screen.
Touch screen, yeah, the first touch screen.
That's pretty good for a first
camera.
Yeah,
I still have it. I still shoot with it. It's nothing. You don't need anything fancy to make money from photography.
I completely agree.
By the way,
you can still shoot with like Canon 5D Mark 1. Even you know, especially photography.
Like Mark 2, Mark 3, the first digital DSLRs 5D. You can look at the picture and you can tell this is Canon 5D.
I don't know if you know, there's a photographer, Chase Jarvis.
Yeah.
If you ever heard, he has a book which is called, I think, the best camera is the one that you have with you. You know, so even if it's a smartphone,
so
it's not about the camera. Like anyone who is into photography, videography, whatever, it's not about the camera. Like obviously there's certain basic standards that you need to achieve to like make your pictures look good. But you doesn't need like the latest camera.
As long as you comply with the current standards of what look you need to achieve. And if the minimum requirements are within that range,
it's more if you know the camera inside out, and also about your vision, how you shoot and what you see.
You learn many tricks. You learn many tricks.
Way more important. I know people who have latest equipment and they produce. I'm sorry, but it's a shit content. You know, like photo, like they don't look good.
Like gear over.
My personal opinion. And then I know people who shoot with like 3, 4, 5-year-old cameras, and they're amazing. You know, every shot is amazing that they post. So
well, the gear doesn't define you, so that's
it makes it easier,
sayings.
maybe. But like I said, inside out. That's if you know your camera like that, then you know you might want to upgrade because I'm missing a certain feature that I really, really need. That's the reason to upgrade, at least in my eyes. Like I don't see the point upgrading just because something new came out.
You'll be able to achieve anything you have. You set your mind to it. You'll be able to achieve if you know your technology, if you know your gear.
Man, we're pressed with time, so
so
I wish we could record longer, but you're now in Malta for a bit, so maybe we do a second part. We'll see.
I'll tell you how photography turned into a job, how hobby turned into a job, and then job turned to a business, and business turned into another job, and now I can do whatever I want. So.
Don't tease people watching, you know. But we'll definitely do a second part,
because I'll be staying here for a little while. Maybe till June, July.
Am I the reason that you ended up in Malta?
Yeah, because I was in the pub, as I always am, standing, and it was super good weather, and I was chatting with you, and I said, I want to go to Portugal or maybe Malta, because I've never been there. And you said, come by here, stay for a few months, you'll like it.
Was that straight after COVID, I think?
Yeah, we started chatting, but I didn't kind of made my mind up for like a year, I think, because the time was flying and I was busy with other things. And everyone who had a chance to go to Portugal, like I have friends who work at Google and Facebook, they all got ill with COVID first day they landed there. Even though they just went for just to have a look if they could work remotely from there, and all got ill just like that. So I was like, okay, I'm coming to Malta.
Yeah, and Malta, I mean, English language, that's one of the main things, I guess, that attracted you. Because in Portugal, like you would speak English maybe with some people, but it's not like a national language.
Yeah, but at the time also there's so many Americans moved over there and other foreigners who kind of made that place their base. So all the remote workers who ended up there kind of piss off the local populace, and I really understand that. I mean, here the local population is a huge minority, like make up less than 40% of the whole population in
Really?
Malta.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the foreign workers, if you look at professional workworkforce, 37% would be foreign workers.
There's loads of
but the
expats,
population are minority here, the local population. So
how did you find Malta? Like in a couple of sentences, like what's your experience so far?
It's a mess. It's warm. It's nice. Very mixed culture, I would say. Even if you look at a historical perspective, all the wars, all the things that happen over here, the architecture reflects that. The culture reflects that. The language, local language reflects that. Sometimes you don't know whom you're talking to, whether the person is Italian, Spanish, Greek, or Arabic. And he's Maltese. Because it's a mix. It's a good mix. I like it's a small island, very easy to get in touch with the different parts of it, very easy to travel. You know, I stayed here for 3 months already because I moved beginning of October. Went back to Lithuania for Christmas. And then I got here again.
Because it's just too cold
for a few
in
weeks.
Lithuania.
And then I'm now here again. So this is my third time I'm coming back. And I'm looking for a place, obviously, to stay longer for a few months. And then I don't know, probably.
So if everyone has a room, write a comment under the video.
Ideally in San Julian's, Sliema, Spinola, and Baluta. But I'm just
But
I'll stay here for
remember
longer.
the first time when you came, I was like, Malta is gonna get you.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, like, because you didn't plan to come back.
No, I didn't plan to
generally.
stay. Next thing was I'll be back in London because I fucking love London. I cannot stress enough how much I love that city.
You still love it, like
I love it. I
feel like after what, like 10 years you were there, right?
13 and a half.
13 and a half. Like after so much time, you would get tired of busy.
If you're tired of London, you're tired
life.
of life. That's the saying. So I love it.
I understand that obviously in London you can find anything and everything and at any time. That's what inspired all the photography, and then travels somewhere else, and kind of kept me on my toes. But I personally feel like it's a rat race a bit.
It is. So that's why I kind of started seeking for other places to go, and I asked you,
Malta is much more relaxed.
I work remotely now, and when I talk with my colleagues or my boss, they don't really care where I am as long as I get my job done.
That's perfect. I mean, Malta is perfect in that case.
I can sit in a cafe if it's a good weather like today. I'll go home. Formula 1 starts in 40 minutes. So I'll go to Dubliners, have a pint over there, and just enjoy the day. You can turn a bad day into a very good day very quickly over here. And if you like to party, you can go out almost every evening. There's very easy access to good restaurants, good food.
Over 300 days of sunshine,
most
which means
in Europe,
a lot.
isn't it?
When you come from Lithuania, it means a lot, man, because you hear of people like in very deep depressions in Lithuania just because like what was the data for January?
I went home for Christmas, right? And I stayed there whole January until I came back here for Jan-Feb. In the entire month of January, Lithuania clocked in 5 hours of sunshine.
In the whole month?
In the whole month.
When here you get more in a day.
Yeah. So when I flew down, I went back. We were driving to Palanga with my parents for a spa. And that one day we had more sunshine than entire January. So you can just understand how depressing it is. So the whole time I stayed there, I counted 3 times I saw sunshine. And I was right, because then I was reading in the news. And that was correct. That's when 3 times I had sunshine.
Okay.
So,
man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Well, hopefully we could get into the grips next time into...
Yeah, because like the photography part is very interesting.
Yeah,
so
how hobbies turn into business and stuff like that.
Definitely we should do a second part.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah, next time.